Hey everybody, welcome to Landscape Rescue. This bed behind me is the, work in progress, where this is the second bed that I've done to help my neighbor. If you're new, I have an elderly neighbor in her early 80s, had a couple spinal surgeries, had a couple hip surgeries, and she just can't get out into the garden. You know, a partner passed away. It's just difficult for her to get out and enjoy the maintenance, the weeding, and things like that. She can get out, she can walk around and enjoy the flowers, mostly from inside the house. She can peek out windows and look at things. She has a chair that she sits out back and lets the dog use the bathroom and enjoys that space also. I wanted to focus on the front yard in the interim, and this was the second area that I wanted to attack priority-wise. It was just a bed, and I use the term bed loosely. It probably was originally when the Rosa Sharon was little, and now it's this big giant Rosa Sharon that had a lot of dead in it. And Titus and I went in and we wanted to clean out and just kind of shrink its profile a little bit, because it was kind of in the way of the house. You couldn't really see out the front. It just blocked off a lot of her front yard view, and I wanted to give her something else to look at, being that this flower bed was going to be right in view of the front door. So whenever she answered the door, people would need to walk by this flower bed, and I didn't like how the Rosa Sharon was dominating the space, and it didn't give whole lot of room for us to do anything different in here, because there just wasn't any room in that flower bed. So it was just a little brick border that she had built around the Rosa Sharon. Kind of a standalone bed, if you will, that just had one plant in it. That was our starting point. That was what we had, was this Rosa Sharon and nothing else to accentuate that summer bloom that the Rosa Sharons bring to the table. And my desire was just to get the front with a little bit more, I don't want to say curb appeal, let her have something to enjoy, a summer bed that would just be an explosion of color. The plants that I chose were usually dictated by what I could find on clearance. So I had been stocking up some clearance for this particular situation, and I got really lucky and picked up a bunch of daylilies from Lowe's. You guys most likely have seen that video. If not, I will link it at the end, where I found 18 daylilies and I got them for $3 a piece, which is kind of like 90s prices when it comes to daylilies. Now they're all $8 or even more expensive than that. $7.98 I think is what the going rate is at Lowe's right now for the daylilies that I bought. So I got a stupid good deal on those, and why not capitalize on that? So a lot of my plant choices here, well, every plant choice that I had was dictated on what I could find on clearance, because this is not necessarily a clearance challenge, but I wanted to put all clearance plants in here so you guys can see where they end up going. The desire was just to keep the price as low as possible, right? Because I'm paying for this, so I wanted to keep the price as low as possible and give her as much bang for the proverbial buck as I could, right? And then get some mass in here, get some really pretty, just overwhelming beauty. The bed, as it stands right now, is going to relatively fizzle out around this time next year, but it will be pretty up until that point. There's some Maynite salvia, not Maynite salvia, we've got some Blue Bayou salvia in here that I found for $1 at Walmart. We've got some Asiatic lily that are they're a little bit more on the smaller side. I got those for $1 also. Those blooms are gonna coincide. When the Asiatic lilies finally give up, they are going to, I guess, relinquish the torch to the daylilies. We have a couple different varieties in here. I was under the impression that I got all blushing ruffles, but I did not. There is some other varieties that are mixed in here, kind of that peachy color with a little bit more ruffles to the petals. Those are gonna be just a pretty contrast. And if we're lucky, we can get kind of an extended bloom time with those different varieties. We'll see. I left some room kind of up front, maybe if we come across some campanula or something like that. I want to give you an opportunity to take a look at the flower bed and see how I put it together. I didn't dig in this metal edging, so this metal edging wasn't dug in, but I got such good ground contact, I didn't really feel like I needed it, right? So when I was hammering, I got the sledge out and I was hammering these stakes down. These stakes are painted and the edging is painted also. So that paint kind of gives some resistance as the paint kind of peels off, you know, the stake, gives some really good resistance, and I got really, really, really good ground contact. So I don't feel like that's going to, it's the first time I've done it like this. Usually I dig it in an inch or two, but I wanted some extra height for that profile. So I think that's going to work out well. This was somewhat of an experiment, but guess what? If I'm doing some landscaping in your yard for free, I'm gonna experiment a little bit. Kind of is what it is. I also found some bags of topsoil, really, really dark topsoil. I was pretty impressed with how it looked. It didn't smell bad. I was pretty impressed by it. I found that for $1.50 at Walmart on clearance. I beefed the bed up a little bit to compensate for now it's somewhat raised. This metal edging is in 10-foot sticks and it comes with stakes. So I bought this at a professional landscape supply place, you know, a place that's 98% contractors come through there. You know, every day, same guys coming through buying their supplies. They have to stay competitive, but this would be wholesale prices. I bought this steel edging for $25 a stick, and it came with 4 or 5 stakes. I think 5 stakes come in a bundle, and you get 1 bundle per stick of edging. $25 a stick seems like a lot. I remember when it was a lot less expensive than that, and it was easier to round out your beds with steel edging. It is virgin steel and a thicker gauge than what you could find at Lowe's. It's 2 feet longer, it's 10 feet instead of 8 feet. It comes with stakes. So you get a lot of value, even though it's very expensive to do. $75 of this bed just went to edging. But I wanted the edging because I wanted to beef it up a little bit, and I wanted to be a little bit more pronounced. That was kind of the motivation behind the edging, and the edging was expensive. The hero for this bed is the Rose of Sharon. And when I say hero, I just mean the focal point, right? So the focal point will be the Rose of Sharon. Now throughout the year, before the Rose of Sharon starts blooming, we're gonna have some other pops of color. The cool thing about this bed is you're gonna have so many different bloom times in here. So you'll have the May Night Salvia is gonna go, the Dianthus is gonna go, the Dianthus is gonna pop first, then our Salvia and Asiatic lilies are gonna pop, and then the daylilies, those blushing ruffles, those are gonna go after. And being that there's still some room in here, now we get to play around with some late summer, maybe early fall style flowers, perennials that we can deal with here. Without getting it any bigger, maybe some creeping phlox up front, because we do have the room for it. Very mulch-rich bed. I put a lot of mulch in here just to make sure that we can get these clearance plants through the summer. She does have an irrigation system that's designed for her lawn, but just remember, lawn irrigation sometimes can sustain stuff, but not really help things thrive in that hot part. So a designated irrigation system for the flower beds is obviously more expensive, but that would ideally be what we do. So some supplemental watering might be necessary for the flower bed in the future. We'll see how it does. Very drought tolerant plants in here, but I do want them thriving. When I planted these, I used beneficial fungus and beneficial bacteria inoculants. I used 2 different types because that's kind of what I had on hand. I used the Biotone all-purpose fertilizer with the True Biotic inside, or maybe that was the Dr. Earth, but I used both. I used Dr. Earth, which you can find at Lowe's, and then I found the Espoma all-purpose with the beneficial fungus and beneficial bacteria in it. I also used 2-year fertilizer tabs. I didn't put any pre-emergent down because hopefully we can do some winter sowing and get some zinnias and things in here, because it does get enough sun that I think I can do that. You guys have been really good about giving me suggestions where, and it's not prefaced like you're being a jerk. It's prefaced as you want to help her also. So when somebody says, well, why didn't you do this? Well, I used pre-emergent, right? I don't take offense to that. Why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? Oh, I mean, I didn't. This is the reason. Why did you use all Sunfinity sunflowers? They're annuals. I'm like, I get it. They were $2 a piece. You know what I mean? Like, that's why. So a lot of the decisions I made might not have been the best choice that I could have made, but it was financially, that was the decision that I had to make, right? I need to keep the cost down on these beds, so clearance is my favorite way to do that. Not only that, but this bed is gonna eventually become a pay-it-forward bed for other parts of the property. So 3 years from now, I can go in and I can divide these daylilies because there's so many of them in here. I can pull them out. We can kind of redesign the bed a little bit, maybe incorporate some panicle hydrangeas or something like that. This bed is an investment for me, for content, for you guys, to help my neighbor. So it's really symbiotic. It's a full symbiotic circle that I'm hoping this bed can become. I used the topsoil as a top dress, so I just top dressed. I dumped like 12 bags of soil in here, and then as I was digging my holes, which was a nightmare, by the way, there were so many roots, there were so many rocks, and I was using my heavy duty 5-inch auger from Power Planner. So Power Planner's 5-inch heavy duty. I used that purposefully because I thought it was going to be a pain in the rear end. I thought it was just going to be a tough dig with all the roots from the Rosa Sharon, potentially roots from the pin oak that is, 20, 30 feet away. But it did a good job of self-mixing. Now, the soil was very dry there. The soil kind of on a little bit of a hill. There wasn't a lot of organic matter. I felt good about putting some good organic matter in there, and then still maintaining somewhat of a mycelial network by just drilling the holes that I needed, not tilling up the whole area. I did not want to do that to that Rosa Sharon. Now, I did reduce the Rosa Sharon significantly by almost half. Reduced it by almost half. I've got some stumps and things in there. Now, if those stumps start to sucker, but what I'm hoping is that by reducing the outer ring, I guess you could say, that outer half ring, getting all the dead out of there, we're gonna open it up a little bit, get a little bit more ventilation, a little bit more airflow, and we're also going to get leaves deeper inside the trunks of that Rosa Sharon because it is multiple trunk. So what I'd like to do is I'd like it to fill up a little bit. Until that happens, the backside of this flower bed is going to be full sun also. It gets a lot of sun. It gets a lot more sun than you would think. I think it's enough sun to where we can start propagating perennials in this bed and just have to remulch it. That's all we're gonna have to do is remulch that. So the mulch that I used in here, I used a lot. Like I was saying earlier, I found this for $1.50 on clearance at Walmart. I use cypress mulch. I would rather do cypress mulch than dyed mulch. I'm not really I'm a big mulch fan, but I don't want you seeing my mulch. So the color of my mulch really doesn't mean anything to me. I mostly use pole chips for mulching. I would rather have just big full beds and then mulch in the fall. Look at the mulch until spring is basically how that goes down for me. But lots of mulch, lots of water retention, reintroduction of organic matter back into that bed, and hopefully we won't have to mulch we're definitely not gonna have to mulch this fall, not gonna have to mulch in the spring. And then when everything kind of springs to life, maybe we can incorporate some zinnia or something fun in there to kind of beef that bed up a little bit. I think that would be fun to do because all of this should be done by the time some zinnias pop, right? Going to be really lean heavy into the purple because we do have a lot of peaches and yellows, peachy yellow in here. And she did make a mention that asked me what colors I went with because she wanted to stay away from yellow because we have so much yellow over here, which I dyed on the inside a little bit because you know how I love yellow. I love yellow with combination of purple. So I just wanted to pop out here between rains and kind of talk to you guys about what we did here. And I think it doesn't look like much now, but you just have to think that if I used 30 plants in here and I paid $1 for the majority of them and then $3 a piece for 18 of them, because I put every single one of those daylilies in this bed, I think it's gonna look fantastic. And again, it's an investment for the future. It's an investment for the future of the channel. And sometimes when I get really good deals on daylilies, I just think of it as, okay, we can do a video about dividing daylilies. Not really that hard, but maybe I can make some funny songs while we do it or something. And then we can use those daylilies to pay it forward and rescue landscapes. I know a lot of you guys kind of hating on daylilies a little bit, and it's okay. If you don't like a particular plant, that doesn't offend me. When you tell me you don't like my face and I shouldn't zoom in so much because you don't like my face, that's a little offensive, but not necessarily if you don't like Sunfinity sunflowers or you have issues with clematis. That sort of thing doesn't really bother me. All right, so that's it, guys. That is the flower bed in question, the one that I've been talking about in the comments. I've got another one coming. There's another flower bed coming, this is the one. It doesn't look like much now, but when you're dealing with clearance plants, the key, and I don't want you to be too hard on yourself if you lose a clearance plant. I lost a dianthus over there. There's just not enough of it alive for me to plant it. You know, especially as rocky as our soils are, the return on investment for digging that hole is not going to be very good. So I'm probably not going to plant it. I'm just going to throw it in the dumpster. Maybe I'll sprinkle some, I'll let it die down, I'll pull it out, and I'll sprinkle some zinnia seeds in there because it's already got soil in it. You know, something like this, one of those situations. I know it doesn't look like much, and I know these plants aren't very pretty, but if you followed the channel, I used 2-year fertilizer tablets. I inoculated the holes with beneficial fungus and beneficial bacteria, and I also incorporated it into the backfill. This bed is going to leap out of the ground this spring, next spring, this coming up spring. One of the springs, it's gonna be insane, and then the next year, it's gonna look even better. And then we might even separate some stuff. I know in my flower beds at my house, which is right there, at my house, I've got a bunch of daylilies where I need to divide. I need to get some of those daylilies out of there. And now we can move daylilies from my yard into her backyard where she sits and watches the dog, surrounds herself with nature. You know, I think that would be a lot of fun to do, and that'll make me feel good about it. And hopefully you guys will feel good about it too and watch the video from the beginning to the end. Because really, that's what pays for all this stuff. If in all actuality, the folks that join the channel, 20 or so folks that have joined the channel, $2.99 a month, big deal for some, not a big deal for others, but it doesn't mean that the impact isn't just as great. But really views, and it sends a very solid signal to me that you guys want to see this sort of content. So, you know, granted, the dumb stump video that's gotten 110,000 views, no one saw that one coming. So that one's done very well and helped grow the channel. And we've gotten a lot of new people. Hopefully they're not wanting a whole lot more stump content. All right, guys, I'm Stuart Moore. What we've done here is landscape rescue. And thank you very much for letting me into your home talk about plants.